Hello there, and welcome to the Business Weekly Show on City TV, your most watched business show in the country. My name is Michael Obodu. Please follow me on Twitter at mobodu. The show is sponsored by Standard Chartered Bank Ghana Limited. Standard Chartered Bank, here for good. Are you ready for 1 hour of business news? I promise it will not be boring one bit. Are you ready? Let's go. We start off today's show on a very exciting note, especially for our friends and families who are trying to secure a job. It looks like you might have to dust off your certificates and review your CVs because jobs, they come drop. El Chairman, the president, has released some nice hot filler. He is planning on creating 1 million jobs in the next 3 years. That's super exciting, isn't it? Getting a job these days isn't easy at all, especially with the impact COVID-19 has had on the economy. But well, now at least there's some hope for the future. President Akufo-Addo says the government will be announcing projects and programs in the upcoming mid-year budget review on Thursday, July 29, 2021, which will help in creating 1 million jobs in the country. The jobs, according to the president, will come under the Ghana COVID-19 Alleviation and Revitalization of Enterprises Support Ghana Cares project and will be created over a 3-year period. President Akufo-Addo made the announcement during his Eid message as part of this year's Eid al-Adha celebrations at the National Mosque.
As has been well publicized, a few days ago, the Ministry of Finance granted financial clearance to the Ministry of Education and the Security Services to recruit some 11,800 people to beef up their operations. It does not end there. We will, through interventions to be set out in the mid-year budget review, which the Minister of Finance will place before Parliament on Thursday, 29th July, announced plans for the creation of some 1 million more jobs under the Ghana Cares Obatampa project over the course of the next 3 years. We are determined to pursue our agenda for job creation in order to give opportunities to our youth to nurture their talents for the development of our country.
I'm sure we all don't mind whoever decides to be the king of promises, so long as they deliver. So we move. Now, if you have some outstanding taxes for a specific period with the Ghana Revenue Authority, there's a way around it so you don't have to pay penalty for defaulting. With what COVID-19 has done, we all do need a break. In our next video, we'll be telling you all you need to know and do.
On May 10, 2021, the Ghana Revenue Authority published a notice clarifying the implementation of tax policies introduced in the 2021 budget statements and economic policy, which includes a waiver of penalties and interest on accumulated arrears. The policy, which is now an act, grants a waiver of penalties and interest on accumulated tax arrears through December 2020 for persons who make arrangements with the GRA for payments of the principal tax by December 2021 and provides for related matters. The Act provides that the Commissioner General of the GRA shall not recover accumulated penalties and interest on the tax arrears paid in respect of the relevant period on or before 31st of December 2021. A person granted the waiver is not liable to prosecution or any other enforcement action with respect to the tax due for the relevant period. To qualify for the amnesty, a person must complete registration for the waiver on or before 30th September 2021. In an interview with City Business News on the sidelines of a press conference organized by the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Reverend Amisha Dai, Owusu Amwa urged all affected persons to ensure their principal obligations are settled by December 31st, 2021.
In recent times also, during the last budget, we are aware of a number of new initiatives that the Minister of Finance announced. And I want to take this opportunity to emphasize on two of them. And the one is the waiver of penalties and interest. The requirement is that any taxpayer who currently have outstanding taxes and have penalties and interest computed up to the end of the last year, that's 2020, you can apply before the end of September and make an arrangement to pay before the end of December. So get the differences. Before the end of September, your application should have been received, and we will have discussed it and come out with an arrangement for you to pay. And once you are able to pay before the end of December 2021, we waive all the penalties and all the taxes, the interest, all the penalties and all the interest. And I want to encourage that we should take advantage of this arrangement that the government has put in place as part of the COVID-19 alleviation initiatives.
The government should be commended for this move, as it will allow businesses breathe a bit as they try to find their feet. This might be a good move by the government, but a lot more has to be done to get the economy back to pre-COVID times. A more progressive approach towards revenue mobilization has to be adopted in order to help the economy fully recover. Economist Courage Mate has been providing more details on this.
On the subject of debt, the Bretton Woods Institution noted that while risks to the country's capacity to repay its debt has increased, it's believed that they are still manageable and that Ghana's capacity to repay the fund remains adequate. The directors welcomed the fiscal adjustment envisaged in the 2021 budget. They, however, stressed that fiscal consolidation is needed to address debt sustainability and rollover risk, as Ghana continues to be classified as high risk of debt distress. While commending the Ghanaian authorities for their proactive response to the COVID-19 pandemic, which mitigated its economic impact, the directors noted that while they are encouraging signs of an economic recovery, it remains uneven across sectors. According to the directors of the IMF, it is important for authorities to limit monetary financing of the country's deficits. They also stressed the need to guard against erosion of external buffers and remain committed to a flexible exchange rate regime. The IMF also noted that the financial sector cleanup had made the sector more resilient, but stressed that banks' growing holdings of sovereign debt creates risk and crowds out private sector credit. The directors finally emphasized that the authority's structural transformation and digitalization agendas are critical to support the recovery. They noted that the structural transformation can be complemented by the ongoing energy sector review, diversification in tourism, and the digital transformation, which has potential to reduce corruption, boost tax revenues, and improve service delivery. Reacting to the IMF's assessment, economist with Data Bank Courage Mate reiterated the need for government to give more consideration to progressive revenue measures to enable a faster return to pre-pandemic levels.
When it comes to fiscal consolidation, they also agree generally that fiscal consolidation should start as has started. But their call is that we need to protect the vulnerable in the society. And in so doing, we need to ensure that revenue collection is progressive and rather strive to bring expenditure faster below back to pre-pandemic levels. So essentially they are calling for fiscal consolidation in 2021 that is heavier on expenditure controls rather than aggressive drive for revenue, because it could expose the vulnerable in the society. And if you spend, they are recommending you spend on health, social, and development spendings. We believe that 2021 fiscal consolidation, this is where we think to agree a lot more, where 2021 fiscal consolidation needs to look more on expenditure controls than aggressive drive for revenue. Because this is a time when people have lost livelihoods. This is a time when you also need to rake in revenue, but need to be cautious not to overstretch the situation.
Now to some very surprising stuff. I just found out that 1 out of every 4 insurance claims in the country is fraudulent. Hey! So it means that if these insurance companies were not vigilant, they would have been losing huge sums of money. Interestingly, on the global front, the figure is actually 4 out of every 10. But this is a very worrying development for us as a country, especially because of our very low insurance penetration rate.
Insurance fraud occurs when an insurance company, agent, adjuster, or consumer commits a deliberate deception in order to obtain an illegitimate gain. It can occur during the process of buying, using, selling, or underwriting insurance. Insurance fraud may fall into different categories, from individuals committing fraud against consumers to individuals committing fraud against insurance companies. Non-medical insurance fraud is estimated at over $40 billion per year. Globally, fraudulent insurance claims stands at about 40%, while the figure sits at around 25% in Ghana. In an interaction with the media, Commissioner of Insurance Dr. Justice Ofori noted that insurance fraud does not only inflict extra cost on insurance companies, but it also financially impacts ordinary consumers, as they are forced to pay higher premiums at the end of the day.
That 40% is worldwide fraudulent claims. Basically, of all claims reported, about 40% of them are fraudulent. And that is one of the reasons why insurance claims needs a lot of investigation. It also affects the premium that people pay, because so far as there are leakages, it results in a high premium for consumers worldwide. I don't have the specifics, but in Ghana we should be looking at about 25% fraudulent claims. Yeah, it could be inflating claims, staging claims, and sometimes people staging their death to make a life claim.
According to Dr. Ofori, insurance companies in Ghana need to do better due diligence to ensure only legitimate claims are paid.
Well, it's a responsibility of the insurance companies to actually do due diligence before embarking on any claims payment. Claims investigations are very important to actually weed out such fraudulent instances. So it is the responsibility of the insurance companies, who have to pay these claims, to investigate and make sure that they are paying only legitimate claims.
Away from the insurance sector to trade-related stories, Ghana and the UK recently signed a trade agreement that allows Ghana to export goods to the UK with no duty. On the other hand, the UK gets to enjoy a gradual liberalization of tariffs on majority of its exports into Ghana. But did you know that most of the goods we export to the UK are raw materials? Well, this might sound like a good deal, but we have to ensure that we do not end up at the losing end of the bargain. Well, some members of parliament agree.
The precursor to the interim agreement was the EU-Ghana Stepping Stone Economic Partnership Agreement, otherwise known as the EU-Ghana Agreement, which came into effect on 15 December 2016. According to data from the UK Parliament, total trade in goods and services between the United Kingdom and Ghana stood at £1.2 billion in 2019. Top exports from Ghana to the UK include mineral fuels and oils, preparations of meat or fish, edible fruits, nuts, cocoa and cocoa preparations, as well as edible vegetables. Top imports from the UK include worn clothing and other made-up textile articles, machinery, mechanical appliances, miscellaneous chemical products, articles of iron or steel, as well as electrical machinery and equipment. While backing the ratification of the interim agreement, Mr. Ama Kofi-Boa noted that revenue losses to be recorded in the first year of the agreement was a cause for concern and called for effective monitoring to ensure Ghana benefits in the long term.
Speaker, the question must really be asked, the benefits. We asked in this discussion with the Ministry of Trade, of course, benefit analysis. Originally, it was not brought. But, Mr. Speaker, when it was finally brought to us, it became obvious that in the first year, for example, 2021, Ghana will lose revenue to the tune of over 115 million Ghana cedis, representing 10.16% of total revenue. Now, the coming years, the revenue that we are going to lose were not provided. And I think we've asked the Ministry of Trade to make sure that that information is forthcoming. So we know. A point that was made was that there was some cost of fiscal adjustment in terms of support that we are going to get from the UK to really help cushion these losses we've talked about, which is very important. Also very importantly, that there are certain export products, sensitive products, that we have excluded from this regime to ensure, for example, that we can protect our poultry industry, agriculture sector, and certain critical areas that we want to be able to be strong on. The Speaker, this agreement is very important. And so we must, yes, sign it, but we must not take our eye on the ball. For example, one of the things we ask the Ministry of Trade to do is the issue of monitoring. Strengthen the monitoring regime to ensure that indeed we are following the spirit and letter of this agreement.
Still on trade-related issues. Now, the Speaker of Parliament, during one of his visits to a neighboring country, had stated that the GIPC law will be reviewed to enable non-Ghanaians engage in retail trade. Cool. The way the Ghana Union of Traders Association are furious about it, they've been calling on the government to enforce the law, and now talks of a review. As for this one, they say they will strongly resist it.
Speaker of Ghana's Parliament, Alban Bagbin, announced a review of the GIPC Act 2013, Act 865, that will exempt the capital requirement of $1 million needed for Nigerian retail traders to operate in Ghana. Speaking before the Nigerian House of Representatives, he said the development will end the long-standing trade impasse between Ghana and Nigeria. However, the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obing, says this proposal puts Ghanaians at a disadvantage on the benefits of the African Continental Free Trade Area.
Practically, it is impossible to enjoy any advantage under the Continental Free Trade Area if members engage in trading in goods that are not produced in their respective member countries. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, these rules of origin set the tone for this press conference. In view of the above facts, we find it difficult to understand any leader in the sub-regional bloc who cannot draw the line between what is permissible in the trading under our respective sovereign laws and the provisions in the international protocols and treaties that we have signed or ratified as member states. We members of the Ghanaian trading community have never and will never prevent any African in our midst from trading freely in goods and services that are produced in member states, but will fiercely resist any abuse of the rules of origin by member states.
Dr. Obin added that the union will not agree to the abolishment of the GIPC law, which protects their retail space.
If there should be any amendment of our investment laws regarding foreign retail trade in this country for Ghanaians to endorse, then it should be that, I'm quoting, for having signed or ratified the ECOWAS protocol and the Continental Free Trade Area, any citizen of member states who trades in goods manufactured in their respective countries should be fully exempted from GIPC Act 865. This is what will bring clarity and finality to this long-standing issue. Having come this far, trying to provide solution to this perennial problem, we wish to categorically and emphatically state that we will not allow any foreigner who deals in impermissible goods under the protocol to trade in Ghana with us, unless he or she duly complies with the GIPC law as clearly stipulated in the Act 865.
I came to appreciate that we are really in hard times when my colleagues in the office did not do the usual show during this Eid al-Adha. In previous years, we had free food for almost an entire week, but this time around, it was just Umar Sanda who I learned was able to show up. But even that one said, it was all finished within minutes. But if the festival is all about Muslims around the world acquiring livestock to share with loved ones, then how did cattle dealers fare this particular season?
Livestock dealers usually cash in heavily during Eid or other celebrations as patronage is high around the period. A visit by City Business News to the Kumasi Abattoir showed that many Muslims had thronged the place to patronize cattle as part of their religious celebrations. Some cattle dealers are, however, not impressed with the patronage of cattle this year. According to them, patronage has so far been low this year. They have attributed it to the depreciation of the Ghana cedi against the CFA francs, since most of the animals are imported into the country from French-speaking countries in the sub-region.
The patronage is not all that favorable as compared last year's patronage. Last year, there are a lot of people came here, bought a lot of animals. But this year, no, the patronage is so low. Many people are complaining about money. There's no money in the system. To me, you see that we have said getting to 1 year during the lockdown. So most of the people are complaining that because of the lockdown, they have not been going out to work. So they have squandered most of their money. So they don't have money with them. They don't have money with them. That's why the patronage just go down.
But why has the prices gone?
The price is due to this in the foreign exchange. You see, we used to buy our animals. Most of the animals are bought from Burkina. There too, they use CFA. So you have to convert cedis to CFA. There, if you convert cedis to CFA, when you buy it at a high price. When you come here when you sold it, when you want to convert the cedi to CFA, you see that you get a small amount of money. So you run at a loss. So it's something that's worrying us. So we want the government to intervene, to do something concerning what has been happening.
Some customers who had also visited to purchase some cattle complained of the high cost of the livestock products. They, however, indicated that they are still willing to buy as it is part of their religious duties.
Actually, the price has shooten up massively, but we are hoping things will get better. We are still searching on it, so probably we'll get some. And
last year, how much did you buy it? And then this year, what are the prices they are
Okay, for last year, I bought 3, one for like 4,500. And this year, compared to this year, like it has shooten up to like 6,000. Yes.
So how many are you buying this year?
So
do you think the number will change because of the price?
Definitely. It will change, definitely.
So how many are you looking to buy due to the price?
I'm still searching on it. So probably 1 or 2 rather.
This year is very costly. Yes, compared to last year, it's very, very costly. Yes, as you can see, we are just monitoring around. We even can't get one to buy because of the cost of the cash. Yes. I think this year is very, very costly. Yeah, we have to buy. We have to buy because this is a festival that we must buy our cow and then slaughter it. So it's a must that we buy. We will ask somebody to bring the money.
Meanwhile, butchers at the abattoir have also raised concerns regarding the health issues associated with slaughtering the animals at home. According to the Ashanti Regional Chief Butcher, Ibrahim Wahab Tikuma, it will be in the best interest of buyers to allow the abattoir to slaughter and dress their animals for them.
It is wrong for people to be slaughtering the animals in the house. Yeah, because of animals, they are like human beings. They have various types of sickness. In the abattoir here, we have doctors. We have veterinary doctors who are well-trained veterinary doctors who, after slaughtering, they examine the meat for the butchers, especially, or whoever comes in to slaughter the animal here. The veterinary people are here to examine the meat before we allow it for consumption. So I'm advising my Muslim brothers to slaughter the animals in the abattoir, They can the meat will be safe. It is you will get a safe meat for the public. 2, they can package it for you. 3, it is less cost. Because when you buy the animal here, to transfer the animal or to transport the animal to anywhere at all you are living, you are going to pay. So we are appealing to them to slaughter the animals within the abattoir. The abattoir has a capacity to slaughter up to 1,000 animals a day.
We can only wish that things get better soon. But still in the Ashanti region, while dealers in cattle lament the poor patronage and buyers complain of the high cost of the animals, tricycle operators say this year's Eid was just something else. This usually would have been peak season for them, where they would have been busy helping people carry around the cattle they have bought for the festival. But this year, they say nothing better.
The business of tricycle operators always sees a major boost during festive occasions such as the Eid al-Adha. In the Ashanti region, tricycle have gradually become one of the most preferred modes of transportation, as is largely considered as convenient and affordable when compared to taxis. According to the tricycle operators who operate around popular areas where livestock is sold during the Eid celebrations, many people who buy livestock patronize their services as they convey the products to their various destinations. A visit by City Business News to some of these joints, such as the Kumasi Abattoir, revealed that the patronage of tricycle operators within the catchment area was low as compared to the state of affairs last year. Some of these operators spoke to City Business News.
Last season, the NHS season way. If say season way, do more abamu. Last season, you to me about this time, I call say 5 to 10 yeah. But I feel I come menu. Ebe ye share kakra.
Afibia edrua yeah na fa na ntwe no wa. Ye dependi baby ayo ko ye timi ko ababo mu ma 30 cedi timi ko baby so a ye dependi baby ayo di ko de. Di awe di ayo do. Bankalasi ya isi kura untimi unwumi kura.
City TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access City TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and StarTimes box. City TV, it's your world.
Isn't it quite interesting that with our traders and business folks, last year always seems better than this year? I'm wondering how that will hold this time around, especially with all the restrictions that were in place at about this time last year. But now to the Upper West region, it looks like this issue of a shortage of maize is not going away anytime soon, because farmers in the region are having a hard time accessing government subsidized fertilizer. And you know, it's even so severe that a number of these farmers have been forced to reduce the size of their farms. You know also that poultry farmers have been in the news for a while now because of a shortage of feed. But with how things are going, we're not sure how the next yield will look like. This is very serious.
In a bid to produce enough food and sustain food production in the country, the government in the last 18 years embarked on the fertilizer subsidy program. Under the program, the government bears almost half the cost of fertilizer inputs, while farmers pay the remaining cost to access the product. Known as the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative under the new Patriotic Party-led government, the program appears to be one of the flagship interventions of the current administration, as many farmers across the country have benefited from it. Available records from the Upper West Regional Directorate of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture indicate that farmers in the region had embraced the program with a year-on-year increase in maize production. However, it's been more than 3 months into the farming season, but many farmers in the Upper West region are left wondering whether the government's subsidized fertilizer program has ended or it is still in place. Some of the farmers, in lamenting their predicaments to City News, complained that they were unable to access the subsidized fertilizer from accredited input dealers, compelling them to resort to buying the product at cutthroat prices from the open market.
The subsidized fertilizer in our district, we are not seeing them. This year we are not seeing them at all. As I'm speaking like that, I'm a farmer. But every year I farm more than 15 acres. But this year, only 5 acres that I farm. Which, even though the 5 acres that I farm, I can't get fertilizer to apply them. And they say that they are bringing subsidized fertilizer. And we are not seeing them. So we don't know why. So this year, I don't know how we are going to do. Because I have students. Normally, if I farm 15 acres too, the school fees too is very difficult for me to pay. But as far as I can farm, I farm only 5. That one there is a big problem. If the government didn't take any action about the fertilizer, this year our salad district, we lost a lot. We will lose a lot. But if we go to the people who they say they should sell the planting for food fertilizer, all the stores are locked. If we go there, you will stand there. So yesterday like that, I went to Golu. I get small, 1.200, 1.2, 1.2. And we heard that the government said that the subsidized fertilizer is 95. And how to get 1.2, you have to be in line, long queue before you get them. About some seconds, they say the fertilizer finished.
Fertilizer don't we as a pala van beluri to moya a lock woofiale. So Koremia, why coaching a Koremia by Cheya. So it's a school balana lade. Was school balama, why pala benjana la jala your fertilizer and pala your fertilizer and car beleneher school here. So pala neher lala pound cousin movies yalla at Tundong school fees. So fair man, no one a chang la pala wo para.
City News checks indicate that a bag of 50 kilogram compound fertilizer is sold between 160 and 180 Ghana cedis in the open market in the Upper West region. 72-year-old Baba Mumuni says he has reduced his 25-hectare maize farm by 7 hectares to enable him to buy fertilizer from the open market.
When you more purpose, but let us do run fertilizer. Say, I'll call them woman. We never have one man. I come with you, my while I'm pallet to a cabal parta. But less than a cabal parent.
Officials of the Upper West Regional Department of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture are tight-lipped on the shortage. However,
key within the supply chain industry of the government's subsidized fertilizer are distributors whose duty it is to transport the product to areas where farmers can access them. You are a distributor of the government subsidized fertilizer. Can you confirm that? And why are we not having the product in the market?
The issue has to do with pricing. It's like we're giving the contract for 2021 supply far back late November last year, at the time which prices of fertilizers were not very high. But now that it's time for us to supply, it's like the prices in the world market has shot up. And once the prices are up, we try to convince the government to do something about the price. But the explanation of our sector minister, agriculture minister, he said he has already committed himself by announcing the prices. And for that matter, going back to change the price for farmers to pay more was a difficult task. So if we could supply at the price that we were giving the contract, it's like suppliers are also seeing that if they supply in that manner, at the end of the day they'll be losing.
So what's this? That's lettuce. Okay. Still in the agricultural sector, you know, the African Continental Free Trade Area AfCFTA agreement is meant to remove various trade barriers amongst member countries and improve trade. This will mean that African states can now export goods amongst themselves without having to pay duty, etc. But for the farmers, the Peasant Farmers Association, this would pose a major challenge for the sector. You know, how do you stay in business when you have to now compete with farmers across the continent who have larger farms and cheaper access to credits? It's like literally losing a race before it even starts. The African Continental Free Trade Area AfCFTA agreement, which commenced this year, is a trade agreement between 56 African states that seeks to remove various trade barriers and improve trade amongst member countries. The agreement is arguably the largest in the world, with an estimated market of about $3 trillion. Many have touted this as the singular move that could revolutionize trading on the continent and significantly improve the economies of participating countries. However, there are others who are concerned about the likely impact of the agreement on some sectors of the economy.
Even without AfCFTA, when you go to most of our shopping malls today, the vegetables are coming from South Africa. Meanwhile, the same vegetables are being produced and we are not getting market for that. Today, go to places like in Kranza, Techiman, Kintampo area, Atabu. A lot of watermelon and cabbage is going wasted. We are not getting people to buy. You come to a place like Accra, Takoradi, Kumasi, you go to a shopping malls and you have to buy the same thing, 10 times the price that you would have bought it from the Ghanaian farmer. So AfCFTA present opportunity for us to also sell in other countries, but I'm not too sure whether our farmers will be able to take advantage of those opportunities because of our production costs. Cost of producing a unit product in Ghana is very high. We still have a high gap between our actual production and potential production.
Despite the concerns raised by Charles Nyaba, he believes there is a way around the situation that can better position farmers to take advantage of the agreement.
The private sector need to help. If the private sector come in to support the government and we increase investment in the farmers, provide them with agronomic training, give them with quality inputs for them to produce, create irrigation facilities, teach them standards to be able to produce to meet certain standards. It means that they will also be improving on their agribusiness activities. So if that happens, it could rather turn to be an opportunity for our farmers to transform from their current peasant farming to seeing farming as a business. So that's why I said we will review the operational guidelines, look at the opportunities, the gaps, to see how we will be able to also engage private investors and government to support us to be able to produce to meet those gaps.
Don't we all love Momo agents for the convenience they provide us? I don't remember the last time I went to the bank for a transaction. I just find a Momo agent, deposit my money with them, and if I feel like it, I move it into my bank account. These guys are really in big business. But come to think of it, there are some security concerns with how they operate. I'm sure you've heard in the news how they have been attacked by robbers a number of times. Because of these happenings, you might have a hard time locating one of these Momo vendors at Yendi in the northern region at some specific times.
Mobile money business has become one of the major ways of providing employment for many. But in recent times, there have been an increase in robbery incidents on vendors, sometimes resulting in the loss of lives. And most cases, victims are left with life-threatening injuries. In Yendi late last year, a number of vendors were attacked at gunpoint, with many sustaining gunshot injuries. Following the development, The Mobile Money Agent Association in Yendi advised members to close business early in the day and not to operate in the evening to ensure their safety. Alhaji Bawa Mohammed Rafiu is the interim president of the Mobile Money Agents Association in Yendi. He has been speaking to City News about their resolution to close business so early in the day.
We've had attacks. One of our colleagues, Taha Enterprise, was attacked, and it was even very early in the night. Not quite this thing, around 6 to 7 p.m. They made a lot away with some monies. Currently, we encourage our friends to close latest by 8 p.m. We do not want somebody to go beyond 8 p.m. We were even suggesting closing 5 p.m., 6 o'clock p.m. or thereabout. We even said that just like other places where we all know banks, they close 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and people know about it. And they rush to the banks to withdraw monies in case the person has the desire or the need to withdraw money. The person, being aware of the time, will go to the bank to withdraw money. So we encourage our friends that let's adhere to the time for our own security and for that of our customers or clients.
He further welcomed Parliament's call for security to be provided for agents to facilitate their operations.
A very welcome news to us. We will welcome it so well. It is something we will all like and will prefer it. And it is a good news to us if it is to be implemented.
Aside the challenges of insecurity, the mobile money agents say their network providers do not treat them fairly, a situation they demand.
The telco should calm themselves down and bring all of us on board. Let's think of win-win rather than it being a compromise on us. We shouldn't be treated like anything can just be pushed to the system. Whoever want, you accept. Whoever want, you reject.
Taha Enterprise is a victim of mobile money vendor attack in Yendi. He narrates to City News how he was brutalized by the robbers.
They came and stood at my entrance. One stood on the motorbike, then one came in and told me, get down. So I didn't hear what the person was telling me. He was speaking English, but the person who came and was saying was a Fulani man. So he said, get down. So I said, why? Get down. So when I heard get down and the tone was now in a harsh way to me, he brought out a knife, a police shocker, the one that they used to control crowd. He brought that one too out. Then the one who was on a motorbike opened his shirt, then brought out a AK-47 gun. Then when I saw them, I think in my mind that no, this is beyond what they are telling me.
He is thus urging network providers to put in place pragmatic measures aimed at providing their businesses.
The telco should design a system wherever it's necessary, be it the security, like I suggest, they should shut down the system by 6. They should make sure that the commission is increased.
Some customers who spoke to City News supported the idea of the vendors closing early, citing security issues.
Looking at the mobile money vendors, their closing time by 6 is not bad because it's for their security. But I think in a way it affects the customers in a way because sometimes you may need money, maybe some emergency issue will arise after 6, where you need money to solve that emergency issue. But because if the closing time is now 6, after 6 you can't access any funds, and that will be a very big challenge to the customer.
Now to the mid-year budget review. In the next couple of days, the Finance Minister is expected to present before Parliament the mid-year budget review and supplementary estimates. I know for a lot of you are expecting that some of the new taxes will be scrapped, like the ones that were introduced on petroleum. For me, I haven't even recovered from the impact it has had on my budget. But I'll be bringing you expectations of some players of various sectors. We'll start off with the Abosokan Spare Parts Dealers Association.
Ghana has income tax exemptions and personal tax reliefs for individuals to ease the tax burdens of qualified persons. The tax law has also made provision for tax incentives and a special dispensation aimed at specific industries to lighten their tax burdens and also to encourage investment in such sectors, location and industries as well. However, according to the Abosokai Spare Parts Dealers Association, when these exemptions are not well targeted, the tax burden weighs heavily on the shoulders of small businesses. Per Section 28 of the Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is expected to present the 2021 mid-year budget review and supplementary estimates for the financial year in Parliament later this month. Ahead of his presentation, the co-chairman of the association, Clement Boateng, says they want the issues addressed to lighten their tax burdens.
Tax exemptions is also something that we've been talking over the years, because some of the companies that we give them tax exemptions, I don't think they qualify for that. And if you look at the end of the year, if you look at the volumes or the amount that has been granted as tax exemptions to some companies, if those monies are collected by government, it can be put into a very useful venture. So if it happens like that, then it means we the small group of people that have been paying taxes, we are the same people that continue to pay, because we've been calling on the government to widen up the tax net. And so if at every point in time government grants tax exemptions to people who are supposed to pay and who can pay, it's not the best. So I think government must also look at that direction.
Among other things, the association has reiterated its calls for affordable credit to grow their business.
As business people, we've always been calling for access to credit. You are all aware that currently Bank of Ghana policy rate is about 14.5, but the banks are not responding to it because of their flimsy excuses over the years of a high risk. So banks still continue, to lend at a very high interest rate. So if government can also come out with measures that will compel the banks, to lend at a very moderate rate, I think it will help businesses, and for that matter, we those in the spare parts industry, because as you are all aware, it's the private sector that employs a lot of people. And if you look at the sub-region, Ghana Ghana has the highest interest rate, which does not, augur well for us.
It appears our spare parts dealers are thinking along the same line as economist Courage Marty. He also believes that the government must pass the tax exemptions bill as soon as possible, because really, what is the point in increasing taxes on the average Ghanaian while giving tax waivers to businesses and persons who don't actually need them?
Ghana's current tax exemption regime cost the nation over 2% of GDP, a situation experts describe as worrying given the government's persistent revenue mobilization challenges and excessive taxation of the average Ghanaian. The new taxes and levies introduced in the 2021 budget were expected to rake in about 2.1 billion Ghana cedis, which according to Mr. Kingsley Marty would have been achieved easily without any extra burden on the regular Ghanaian if the government had passed the new tax exemption bill.
If we hasten the process of passing the review of the tax exemptions bill and trying to implement it, we could save the taxpayer some tax obligation or tax stress. And the taxpayer currently appears to be fatigued with tax payments. So bringing on board or reviewing the tax exemptions regime, which, by the way, the 2021 budget indicated that it will be relayed in Parliament this year. So we will need an update as to whether it has been relayed in Parliament, where we are in the process, and how soon we should expect it to be passed and become operational, so that we can then begin to see where the losses are happening and how we can close the loopholes and reduce the stress on the taxpayer. And in the mid-year review, I do not expect additional consumption taxes, given the fact that aggregate demand currently is very weak. And these consumption taxes are on disposable income, or they are actually on consumptions, right? They are on consumption irrespective of disposable income. And in that sense, they are regressive because it is no respecter of income levels. It is only considering the final consumption irrespective of your income level. And in that sense, you will notice that people who earn different levels of income but consume the same item would pay the same tax, and as a ratio of their income, the lower income pays more.
The government in the 2021 budget statement made some growth projections for the hotels and the restaurants sub-sectors. Now, these sectors have been among the worst affected by the pandemic and they are still struggling to recover. But with the current state of affairs with the sector and how it has fared so far for the first half of the year, are these projections attainable? Let's find out from some businesses.
Ruby's Fast Food at Adabraka commenced operations in December 2019. Barely 3 months into its operations, disaster struck.
When there was a lockdown, we had to break, and then we resumed business. That was July last year. Yeah. So we've been operating since last year, July actually.
Like Ruby's Fast Food, many other restaurants took a major hit from the outbreak of the pandemic. Rebecca Aite is the manager at Pandana Restaurant in Osu.
Especially in this hospitality industry, it's been really, really tough and hard. Last year, I have to even close down for a period of months, 2-3 months, and I have to let all the workers go home. And you can imagine payments become a problem. We came back hoping that things will pick up. But it's been really, really, really bad. It just goes down the drain.
Many of the restrictions that were put in place by the government were meant to curb the spread of the pandemic, but they created an environment that wasn't conducive for business. Majority of them have been lifted, but how is the sector faring now? Colin Sowusu is a chef at Snacks Restaurant, also in Osu.
We are still pushing. Let's say if it was 80, now let's say it's 50 or 40, 45 in many ways. Because before, previously, like by now, you wouldn't be able to stand in and asking me questions. I'll be giddy going out, yeah. Yes, seriously. But now there's nobody here. Is that? But now there's nobody. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like before. But like you wouldn't be standing talking to me, like doing giddy inside, making other stuff another side. But now there's no one here, and not even here only. Anywhere else, when you get to another restaurant, because we always contact with our people. How's the business in there? How's it going? Are you selling?
In the 2021 budget, the government indicated that hotels and restaurants subsector was expected to recover gradually from the severe contraction it experienced in 2020. The subsector is expected to register a growth of 2% in 2021, 4% in 2022, 6.2% in 2023, and 6.5% in 2024. But mid-year through 2021, how likely is the sector going to meet the projection for this year?
It's funny, but it's real. I mean, people are suffering. It's really tough. If you can't afford a plate of food to eat, why would you go out and eat in the first place? So it tells that money is not flowing in the system, people are not having jobs, and even we have to lay some workers off because there's no money to pay them. So the struggle is getting even worse. Well, if the government is saying that he has done something or there's improvement, we haven't seen it yet.
The hotels seem not to be out of the woods yet. They have also had their fair share of the demons the pandemic released. The Hotels Association believes the government's intervention is really needed now to save the situation.
Now, when things get expensive, what it means is that then the disposable income thins. And when it thins, then leisure becomes also a challenge. So people are not ready to put more money into those areas. So I think the focus of government is to look at the inflation rate as we have it. The figures may show that there's been some improvement, but the reality on the ground, things are becoming more and more expensive.
When asked about prospects for the rest of the year, some players in the sector said they had no idea.
For now, the system is so hard for everyone. especially with this, you know. So it all depends God anyways, because we are praying and we are pushing ourselves so that we can move it to where we were, or if it will be upward. That's what we are thinking of.
Well, thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of the Business Weekly Show, your most watched business show in the country. Our time is up. We'll catch you same time next week, but follow me on Twitter at @mobodu. My name is Michael Obodu. Don't miss out on the Business Dashboard, 10 p.m. sharp on City TV, with a repeat at 7 a.m. the next day. And our website, citybusinessnews.com, has regular business news updates for you. Catch you same time next week. Stay safe, stay informed, and bye-bye.